If you're in the market for investment-worthy bags, watches, and fine jewelry, Rebag is the answer. Rebag is a luxury resale marketplace where each piece is carefully vetted and verified by experts to ensure quality and authenticity. If you're in the market, use Rebag to buy and sell finds from the world's top brands, including Hermes, Chanel, and Cartier. Head to Rebag.com to get 10% off your first purchase with code REBAG10. Shop today at Rebag.com. That's REBAG.com and use promo code REBAG10 for 10% off your first purchase.
Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in here to Fighting Never Fighting, a GoPowercat.com podcast where we catch up with K-State athletes, former and maybe even current. Today, we talk to Ekow Boye-Doe. Before we get to that conversation, we bring in Ekow. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to GoPowercat.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Now we bring in Ekow Boye-Doe, a native of Lawrence, Kansas. Ekow, thanks for hopping on today. It's good to talk to you. I want to talk to you first, immediately, right off the jump. You just got done with Pro Day here in Manhattan about a week ago. Tell me about that experience and what is your process looking like as you get ready to go on to the next level?
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. And just being back in Manhattan with the guys coming back too for Pro Day, that was just a blast. Getting to just talk to them and see how they've been doing and everything was a lot of fun. And then of course Pro Day, just being able to get the opportunity to perform in front of all 32 teams was just a blessing, just so I can show off some of my skills, and I think I did that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think everybody around college football, around the Big 12, knows about your speed. Some people clocked you at a 4.27. Some people had you in the low 4.3 range. What did you think? I mean, did you get an official number on that? And is that kind of where you thought you would run?
I mean, I don't know about an official number. They all have different times, really, but I'm definitely running with the fast one. Whichever one was the fastest one, I'll take. But coming into it, I was always training to run under 4.3. I've ran a laser time 4.3 a few years back, so I know that I'm definitely 4.3, if not sub 4.3 guy.
Yeah, and I mean, just for some context for the listeners and the viewers at home, I've known Ekow since high school. You played at Lawrence, I played at Olathe North, and we had some good battles over the years. And before, as we really get into this podcast, the one story, the first time I knew who Ekow Boye-Doe was, we were playing against you guys. I was a senior, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but Arlen Bruce was our running back at the time. He's now at Oklahoma State as a receiver. He was at Iowa.
Yeah.
I think we were at our own 1 yard line, and he carried the ball, broke through the line, and he was gone. It was a touchdown. We were gonna score a 99-yard touchdown run. I'm on the field, and all of a sudden, here comes Ekow Boye-Doe on the far side, just running down the field. He hawks him from behind, and I'm like, who is that guy? And they're like, oh yeah, that kid's going to K-State. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And that was the first time I was introduced to your game. And I think K-State fans got a chance to really see you shine, not only this past season, but for ever since 2020 when you broke onto the scene. And I kind of want to go back as we get going with this. Tell me a little bit about your background, because you've kind of had a unique journey to K-State. Just kind of tell me how that started and really about your personal background.
Well, I was born in Ghana, West Africa. Moved to Lawrence, Kansas when I was about 3 years old with my whole family. And pretty much we'll fast forward to high school. I always wanted to play football at KU, really. Honestly, just growing up in Lawrence. And throughout my high school, like, recruiting didn't pick up until about the start of my junior year. Went to a few camps, went to K-State camp, went to KU camp. And pretty much with my recruiting, K-State ended up offering me first, and I kind of felt some type of way about it. Had a little hard feelings about it, but it is what it is. But K-State just did a great job recruiting me. They showed me love since day one, and it just felt like it was right to be a Cat. So that's how I pretty much got to Kansas State.
And growing up in Lawrence, you mentioned it. I mean, you said you wanted to play football for KU. Was that something that you always knew, even though they had their down times? I mean, I'm curious. There's been multiple K-State guys that have gone to K-State out of Lawrence. You think of Keenan Garber, who's still on the roster, Jack Stanine, and yourself. I mean, just what's that like when you are getting recruited by a school that maybe you weren't the biggest fan of, and obviously you end up coming here and having a lot of success? Just what was that like when they're recruiting you throughout that process?
Yeah, I mean, whenever a school is constantly calling you, just showing love to you, it kind of makes the decision easy. Whether you're from Lawrence or you're from Manhattan and want to go to KU or K-State, whoever is just showing more love and more genuine love, at least, it makes it kind of just easy to pick whether you're from a rival city or not. And with Jackson Keenan, those are two of my buddies. So after they saw me make that decision, I kind of got on the K-State coaches and stuff, and Taylor Bratt, to go get those guys as well. So we succeeded with that, and yeah.
Was there ever any thought about running track for you? I mean, with the speed that you have, I mean, you were very successful on the track as well, I'm assuming. Just, did you get recruited for track? I mean, did you ever think about maybe doing both at K-State? I know that there's a lot of athletes that talk about how much that second sport helps them. Surely that was the case for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. In high school, I ran track my freshman year and my sophomore year as well. And I ended up actually just calling it quits with track. I was always fast and stuff, but I just felt like I wanted to buckle down on football, and I kind of regret that, but it is what it is now. But if I could go back, I would definitely keep running track, but I'm not a fan of just running for fun. So,
well, I think there's a lot of people that are like that. It's kind of usually how it is. There's a lot of football players who say, we'll just take the running for the punishment. We don't actually want to compete in the running aspect of it.
right.
Yeah, I think that a lot of kids from Lawrence, getting back to that, you go to K-State, you get there. Daniel Green's talked about it. You guys, the Snyder Soldiers, you get there, and it's Coach Snyder's last season. What is that like? I mean, that had to have been an interesting time for you, obviously, as a true freshman. You come in, and maybe not the most successful season in the world, and kind of walk me through your true freshman season, because that is a year that goes under the radar for a lot of K-State fans.
Yeah, it was honestly a blessing to get that year in with Coach Snyder. Of course, it was hard work, but I feel like I learned so much just from his leadership and the whole staff then. It never gets harder than Coach Snyder days. So I just appreciate him and the whole staff just for pushing me and our whole team And it shows. It definitely shows.
When you are a freshman and you're playing on the scout team and you're going against guys like Skylar Thompson, who was our last guest on the podcast, did you have a feeling that, ooh, like this guy's really good? I mean, what was the jump like going from playing 6A Kansas high school football to now you're a part of a Big 12 program? I have to imagine it was a fairly significant jump.
Definitely. The game is just way faster. Like your first practice, your first college practice, everything is just moving just so fast. You don't even realize something just happened, and it happened. But once you get the reps, I mean, that's all that matters. The game will be able to slow down for you, and you'll be able to show what you're about really then. But Skylar's, he was a great player, and he is a great player, as we all know. It was also a blessing to be able to have such a great leader in Skylar, and just learn so much from him. So, yeah.
And we go back and we look at that freshman class for you guys. One of the guys who was in that class as well is Jalen Pickle, another Kansas kid. And I was just going back and looking at the 24/7 sports rankings that year in Kansas, and you obviously it was you and JP were the ones that by far and away have had the most successful college career. I guess to any Kansas kid who is considering K-State, what would you say would be the most positive thing that happened to you about staying in state and going to K-State?
Of course, just being at home pretty much. Like, it's just a quick hour and a half drive from Lawrence. You get to see your family. That's something I don't take for granted because I have a lot of teammates that live far and that get homesick and stuff. But Kansas State is just a great school, and it's in Kansas, so it's just the perfect option, honestly.
And so when we flash forward now, Coach Snyder at the end of the season obviously retires, and you're stuck without a coach there for a little bit. Obviously, the transfer portal wasn't around like it is today.
Right.
What's going through your mind before you find out that Coach Kleiman's hired, and you're kind of in this, this interesting place because you are just coming off of a redshirt season. You're still trying to figure out the system, and now you're going to be given a completely new system with 4 years of eligibility left. Was there ever any thought about I might try something else? What's kind of your mindset before Coach Kleiman is hired?
I mean, honestly, throughout that whole process, my family took a big role in that, just telling me just to trust the process, and just to stick with it. At no point was I thinking I was going to leave or transfer or any of that, honestly. I was just going to trust the process and try to make the most out of whatever situation, because it's also a fresh slate, clean slate, and you get to show them what you got.
Yeah, and then obviously Coach Kleiman is hired the following season, and you guys have a pretty good year. But I think, and you weren't exactly a prominent player on that team, played in some special teams games. And I think the story of Ekow Boye-Doe really starts in 2020. That is obviously the COVID season. First of all, I mean, it had to have been a crazy time, not just for you, but for the entire team. You start that season off not only with a loss to an Arkansas State team, you turn around, and then I think that is the game where you just decided to introduce yourself to K-State Nation. Kind of walk me through that time in particular. Before you play Oklahoma, what is going on internally? I know there was some discussion about, you might not even be able to play because of the number of guys you had at the time, and your story is well documented, obviously, going from scout team to starting in a matter of a few days. But kind of take me inside that week and what all did that entail that led up to your first start at Oklahoma in 2020?
Yeah, I was actually playing scout team offense, then giving our K-State defense a look. So I wasn't really, of course, I was in the game plan and stuff. Like I was watching film and stuff, but honestly, I was just in my role of just playing scout team wide receiver. And we had some kids go down for COVID. And I think it was like a Wednesday. So I had one more practice, which is like our walkthrough type day on that Thursday. And they told me I was going to start. And I feel like throughout that whole season and even the year before, I just prepared myself the right way. I never was just like, oh, I'm going to take the shortcut because I don't play or whatever. I stayed in the film room and I was ready when the opportunity came. Of course, it was definitely nerve-wracking knowing I was playing in my first start against such a great team in Oklahoma, but it was just a great experience.
Did you guys kind of wrapping this together and kind of flashing forward before we finish up our conversation about the 2020 season, did you guys need that 2020 season to come together and ultimately lead to brighter days in 21 and obviously being a Big 12 championship in 2022? Did you guys need that time in 2020 to learn and grow together?
Definitely. I mean, we went through so much adversity, just playing with limited guys because of the whole COVID situation. And we just came out better than we were. So the adversity was great, honestly.
JamesAllen.com is the online destination to easily design a customized engagement ring and save up to 50% compared to traditional stores. You pick a diamond, whether it's lab-created or earth-created, James Allen has over 200,000 conflict-free stones. Then you pick your ring setting and metal. And if you need some help, they have real-time diamond consultations available, where an expert can walk you through it all. Get 25% off your order at JamesAllen.com, code podcast. That's JamesAllen.com, code podcast.
I feel like when we look at that 2020 season, there was a lot of highs, obviously, included the win over Oklahoma, one of the best comebacks K-State's seen in a long time. You guys also went through that losing streak, which rolls it over to 2021, and you guys and you personally hold down the cornerback position. It also brings in a guy by the name of Julius Brents, who's another guy, along with yourself, who's getting a lot of next level pub for the NFL. When Julius announced he was coming to Kansas State after the 2020 season, before the 2021 season, did you know anything about him? When did you develop a relationship with Julius Brents, and how have you seen him grow from that moment until where he is today?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw we were getting a 6'4", long, big corner, and I mean, it usually goes well when you have one of those. Julius, he came in and he competed since day one. He's just a great leader, and he makes us all better. He made me better from day one. I honestly, I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now without Julius. We would just push each other, and yeah, he's a great player, and he's going to do great things and have a really long career in the NFL.
And the man that is behind all that, obviously, is your former position coach in Van Malone. And, we get a chance to talk with Coach Malone a lot in the media. And I'm struck every single time we talk to him how he's not a head coach. That is a man who deserves a head coaching position. What kind of coach is he? Obviously, we see him on the field, X's and O's, but the relationship you guys have, I mean, that seems like it's one that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
All right. I mean, just with Coach Malone, he's obviously a great coach, as we all know. He gives us ownership of our room, which I think is is just a great way of coaching. And me and Julius, obviously, we were the leaders of that room, and he just gave us ownership of it, and we were just a family since day one. We all meshed very well, and Coach Malone would always push us and just pretty much take everything out of us so we can be great. So I appreciate Coach Malone more than he knows, and we wouldn't be here without what he brings to the table.
I feel like that is one of those guys who does everything right, and not very many people know about him who aren't around the program. He just seems like the kind of guy who players have talked about, and yourself included, you'll go to bat for him every single time.
Right.
That's also a common theme amongst all of last year's team, was just how together not only the staff was, but the players were as well. And that kind of leads me to this past season. When did you realize that the 2022 version of Kansas State had a chance to be really dang good?
Really in the off season, Coach Kleinman, like I said about ownership, giving us ownership of the team, he would always just present that to us, that it was our team, and that we can go as far as we want. And that really just gives us an extra edge to play for our coaches and to play for Kansas State Nation. And I mean, there wasn't really one specific moment where I knew we were going to be great, but just a lot of different moments throughout our off season and during the season.
I feel like one of the moments that really defined you guys was the first TCU game.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys had the loss against Tulane, responded with a bunch of wins in a row, but you guys go to TCU, and that game, I just feel like, talking to the players after the game, some of the players after the game, when it seemed like everybody got hurt. Did you feel like you knew you guys were going to get a shot at them again?
Definitely. I mean, we were up at half by at least a touchdown or two. We knew that we can compete with them from that game. Like you said, we had a bunch of dudes go down. But after that game, we knew that we were going to see them again. I remember towards the end of the game, I think they were kneeling the ball or whatever. And me and some of my other teammates were just telling them, we're going to see you guys again. So, yeah, we definitely had that edge, and we knew we were going to be back in the Big 12 championship to see them.
And you guys did that, obviously, and a lot of that had to do with guys like Will Howard stepping up, obviously coming in for an injured Adrian, and he completely changed the offense. But it felt like the defense always stayed pretty strong. You guys, no matter what, were always kept the team in the game. And so, you take me into that TCU game. Obviously, in the Big 12 championship, we'll talk about how your injury a little bit. I'm curious to know kind of the mindset after that happened. But heading into the game against TCU, did it feel different? Did prep feel different? Did you feel like when you took the field for warmups that like this was a completely different game, or did your preparation kind of lead you to believe that this was just another game on the schedule?
The second thing you said, just the preparation, all the outside noise. Obviously it's there and it's in the back of your head, just knowing it's the Big 12 championship, but preparation is definitely key. For me, I was able to just clear out all the outside noise, and I feel like a lot of my teammates were able to as well. And that's thanks to the coaches just for reiterating that throughout the week. But coming into it, obviously, you're going to have those jitters. You're playing in the Big 12 championship, everything you worked for. But I think we handled it the right way and let our preparation show.
And then you obviously get injured. And towards the beginning part of that game, on a big play. I think a lot of people maybe forget how important of a play that was. You broke up a pass that could have been a touchdown and would have completely changed the course of the game. But when you get hurt, I mean, are you thinking you have a chance to go back in when you went down? Did you know, like, ooh, this is probably not very good? Just what's your mindset as soon as that happens?
I thought there was a chance I could come back in. I've had my shoulder kind of come out of place before, but I wasn't really able to take off my pads, and once I did get them on, I wasn't able to put them back on. So it was what it was, but I just played my role in supporting my teammates, and I'm just glad we came out with the win. That's all that matters to me.
Got the ring. That's the important part.
Exactly.
The guy that stepped up in that game is Jacob Parrish. I know K-State fans maybe did not know a lot about him before the season started, and he played a role throughout the year. But I think kind of the nation was introduced to Jacob filling in for you actually when you got hurt. How good can Jacob Parrish be? It seems like there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, I think Jacobs, he's going to be a great player. Just from day one, he showed how he was a competitor, and you can kind of just see that when a guy comes in, and you kind of just know that they're going to be good one day. So I'm excited for Jacob, and I think he has tremendous upside, and he's going to be a cat to remember for sure.
So let's kind of move forward now and talk about what's next for you. We talked about the pro day, obviously, and I read somewhere you'll be going to a Chiefs camp. Is that correct? You're going to be and working out for some more NFL teams. Just what does the process look like for you now, from leading up till now until maybe even potentially up to this summer?
Yeah, tomorrow I'll actually be going up to work out with the Chiefs, and after that we'll just hear. It'll be by ear, and we'll just see where we're at with other teams and interviews and stuff. So yeah, we'll just see from after that, honestly.
How excited are you for this next portion of your life? And I can imagine leaving K-State, you had the extra year of eligibility if you would want to. That'd been your sixth year in college. There's not a lot of people that spend 6 years in college, but how hard, I guess, of a choice was it, and how excited are you to what the future could potentially hold?
It was tough just because of the people at K-State. We just built lifelong relationships, so it was tough on me for sure. But I also have dreams and aspirations for myself, which is playing in the NFL, and I'm just excited for what's next.
And then one of the last things, got a few more for you before we close out the podcast. But the one thing that I feel like, if there's one thing you can go back and change, the interceptions. That is like one of the most random stats, I think, not only in your career, but for really any K-State player. You started 35 games, 27 games in a row, and you never managed to get an interception. Is that just because teams just decided not to throw your way? I mean, that has to be something that has bugged you for your entire career.
It definitely has bugged me. I don't know how it happens, honestly. I mean, I just got to come through whenever opportunities are presented to me. But there's not much to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, there really isn't. What are you going to do, right? Sometimes the ball is thrown your way, and sometimes it's not. And before I let you go, I want to ask you about your favorite memory at Kansas State. I know you guys were a part of a lot of good times, but if there's one thing that sticks out above the rest to you, what's your favorite memory about your time in Manhattan?
It would have to be the Big 12 championship. Even though I got hurt, but just seeing Ty kick it through, like that feeling is just stuck for life. All we've worked for 5 years finally came true, and that's definitely a feeling that I'll never forget.
Well, Ekow, I appreciate you joining me on this edition of Fighting Never Fighting. Good luck to you. I know K-State Nation will be rooting for you, and look forward to talking to you again.
Go Cats.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
The PGA Tour is back, and so is the First Cut Podcast, part of the CBS Sports Podcast Network. Join myself, Rick Gehman, and Greg Ducharme each Monday for a DFS preview before Kyle Porter, Mark Immelman, and Patrick McDonald preview everything in the world of golf on Tuesday. Circle back throughout the week for immediate round-by-round reactions for every tournament every week. The PGA Tour schedule is heating up with Pebble Beach, the WM Phoenix Open, and the Genesis all right around the corner, so it's time to lock in to the First Cut Podcast. Make sure to download and follow on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else podcasts are found.